Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, John Herold. Full disclosure, I am pre-recording this episode. I'm also, as you can tell, not at my typical home studio. I am on the road and will be most of this week, but not every episode will be pre-recorded. I'll tell you that. Tomorrow should be live. I think every day this week should be live, except for this one. No promises on that, but that's the plan right now. But lots to discuss today. This weekend was pretty nuts with those riots down in Los Angeles. Before we get into any of that, let's get a quick word from the sponsors of today's show. First up, we got Rise Attire.
By now, you've probably seen the new collab between Rise and Badlands Media, but I'll tell you what you haven't seen yet. The end of Clown World as we know it. But have no fear. Introducing the latest addition to the Badlands INTL lineup, the sequel to the best-selling Sci War series. We've been conditioned by these clowns to accept their circus. But it's time to unwind that and strike them out the history books. The future belongs to the real, and we've got it in droves. Go to badlandsmedia.tv/rise for the full line of premium and direct-to-garment streetwear. Made to order right here in the good old US of A, the heart of the resistance. The fall of Clown World is upon us, patriots. Let's make it official.
Get your Badlands merch, guys. No better way to support us than to get our stuff and wear it around. Also, great way to support us is hitting that thumbs up. We also have River today as a sponsor. Bitcoin came up to 108,000 again today. Did you know Bitcoin is a top 5 global asset? Now's the time to buy, and River's here to help. Prepare to maximize your Bitcoin returns without the emotion. Introducing River AI, a Bitcoin advisor at your fingertips. Stop trying to time the market. You can do it with confidence. At River, you get zero fee recurring buys, 3.8% in Bitcoin interest on cash, US-based support, business accounts, and so much more. Don't forget about Bitcoin interest on cash, which can accelerate your business growth too. Businesses can now earn 3.8% interest on cash paid in Bitcoin. That's more money to fuel your next big move. Get started at badlandsmedia.tv/river. Move your cash to River today and start earning a real interest rate paid in Bitcoin. Future is now badlandsmedia.tv/river. All right. Let's go through a couple of these quick. No update on the Doge website. Lots of updates on the presidential White House website. Lots of different actions going on. And we're going to go through a few of these before we get into the riots and stuff. So drone stuff, airspace sovereignty, supersonic flight. These are all airtime things. We'll discuss those each briefly. We also have this cybersecurity thing. There's one interesting aspect to that I want to go through. And then the biggie in terms of recent news is this one, having the DoD, basically help the DHS down in California. This is the one that ordered the 2,000 National Guard troops down there. $2,000 person minimum, which is interesting. Plus the Marines are on standby. So lots of interesting stuff going on down there. But let's go through a few of these. First of all, this cybersecurity one is important. And I want to get the actual order here and show you which one I think is most interesting. Okay, so a couple things from the fact sheet. The order amends problematic elements of Obama and Biden era executive orders, directs federal government to advance secure software development. Lots of general stuff, but the biggie is this one. Let me share this tab and scroll down. Hold for processing. I should have had this ready right here. We've been talking a lot about quantum computing lately, especially on like the power hours and whatnot. Steve Quast did that interview with Sean Ryan and basically saying how quantum computing can hack anything in the world anywhere. Well, they're already making moves to prepare for that, which I find that to be most intriguing because it's like they think the quantum computer is inevitable. To my understanding of quantum computing, it's still hypothetical, you know? But this is what the order does here. A quantum computer of sufficient size and sophistication, also known as cryptanalytically, did I say the word right? Relevant quantum computer, or CRQC, will be capable of breaking much of the public key cryptography used in digital systems across the United States and around the world. Will be capable. So again, hasn't happened yet. National Security Memorandum 10 of May 4th, 2022, which was promoting the United States leadership in quantum computing while mitigating risks to vulnerable cryptographic systems, directed the federal government to prepare for a transition to cryptographic algorithms that would not be vulnerable to CRQC. So, and this is what he orders. Wait, hold on. Striking 4F and inserting in lieu thereof the following. So this is what they changed. I wonder, you know what? Hold for processing. I'm actually going to pause this while I go find it. Okay, I figured it out. So what this order is doing is amending an executive order from Joe Biden, like from January 16, 2025. So one of the last executive orders that they put through. And specifically what it's editing. So this section stays the same. But it's these two sections, specifically the dates that change. So in the original executive order, I can show you this here. They have first, within 180 days of the date of this order, they'll go through, they'll update a list of categories in which products that support post-quantum cryptography are widely available. Back to this, changes to by December 21st or by December 1st, 2025. So they're changing the dates. 180 days of the date of the order would have been, that's 6 months from January. That would have been like July. So they're pushing it back almost. That's interesting. And then the second part, by December 1st of 2025, prepare for a transition to post-quantum cryptography. They're going to issue requirements for agencies to support as soon as practicable, but not later than January 2nd, 2030, Transport Layer Security Protocol version 1.3 or successor version. Okay, and it's just those two. And that changes from within 90 days of a product category being placed. So again, it just changes the timeline on it. And then these three other ones, section 3, 4, and 5, have all been removed. So agencies implementing PQC, key establishment, that's gone. Talking about foreign governments. And requirements for agencies to support the transport layer security protocol. So I'm not like a computer whiz guy, obviously, but I do find it interesting when Trump is amending but keeping in place Biden era executive orders, especially considering how illegitimate he was. And this is definitely probably an auto pen scenario. So yeah, I find this to be a notable executive order from Trump here, and some interesting changes, stuff to definitely keep an eye on. And discussing post-quantum era and all these things when quantum isn't even a thing yet. It's still theoretical and hypothetical in a lot of ways. But the way people are talking about it, it's like it's an inevitability, you know? And so that's notable. Anyway, next executive order here, President Trump unleashes American drone dominance. Signed an EO to ensure continued American leadership in the development, commercialization, and export of unmanned aircraft systems, otherwise known as drones. So that's a good thing. We'll move to this one. Donald Trump restores American airspace sovereignty. He signed an executive order to ensure American sovereignty over its skies in a safe, secure airspace. Unmanned aircraft system or drones pose a growing threat as criminals, terrorists, and hostile foreign actors increasingly weaponize these technologies to endanger public safety and national security. This order establishes the federal task force to restore American airspace sovereignty to review and propose solutions to UAS. So not only are we unleashing our own capabilities with drones, but they're looking at ways to defend ourselves from other people's use of drones. I think that's notable. And then lastly, oh, where did I miss that one? Hold for processing. Let me get that pulled up. Supersonic flight, that's the one. There's a company, a private company out there. I don't remember what they're called, but I follow them on Twitter, and they were posting about this. Like, they've been trying to basically create a privatized supersonic jet airplane that can take you, pretty much anywhere in the world very quickly, under an hour. It's something Quas talked about in the Sean Ryan interview. And these changes here allow them to test more, which I think is great. Like, they're no longer hamstrung by the bureaucratic red tape. The United States stands at the threshold of a bold new chapter in aerospace innovation. For more than 50 years, outdated and overly restrictive regulations have grounded the promise of supersonic flight over land, stifling American ingenuity, weakening our global competitiveness, and ceding leadership to foreign adversaries. Advances in aerospace engineering, material science, and noise reduction now make supersonic flight not just possible, but safe, sustainable, and commercially viable. This order begins a historic national effort to reestablish the United States as the undisputed leader in high-speed aviation. By updating obsolete standards and embracing the technologies of today and tomorrow, we will empower our engineers, entrepreneurs, and visionaries to deliver the next generation of air travel, which will be faster, quieter, safer, and more efficient than ever before. I'm not going to go through the details of this, but I think it's notable. But let's go to the biggie. So obviously the riots taking place, and I have a bunch of clips and stuff from Twitter and whatnot, and it might be out of order, so forgive me, but Trump allowed the use of the National Guard. He basically federalized the National Guard against Gavin Newsom's wishes, which we'll get into that as well, to help with what I would consider to be an insurrection going on down in California. The media is framing it as just peaceful protests against these ICE raids. And it's hilarious to watch the media, these Democratic politicians, none of them learned their lesson. Every single one of them is doing the same thing, using the same playbook that they used during the George Floyd riots. And it's insane to me how stupid these people are. But they're trying to defend and frame this, what's going on down there, as innocent. And it's not. Trump deploys National Guard to stop LA immigration protests, defying California's governor, why experts call the move dangerous. The invocation of presidential powers that have remained dormant for decades signifies an escalation that challenges both state authority and long-established standards, some experts and political leaders say. Isn't it kind of weird that, like, this is what they wanted him to do? Oops. It's what they wanted him to do on J6. And they were going after him for not doing it. But now it's like, oh, now that he is doing this somewhere else, he's challenging state authority and long-established standards. Oh my gosh. Protests in and around Los Angeles erupted on Friday after federal immigration agents arrested at least 44 people. They used tear gas and flashbang grenades, blah, blah, blah. He signed a president's memorandum deploying the National Guard under Title 10 to temporarily protect ICE and other U.S. government personnel who are performing federal functions, as well as federal property. He announced in the memo, Title 10 allows the president to deploy National Guards as necessary to repel invasion, suppress rebellion, or execute laws, which means the National Guard reports to the president rather than the governor. The federalization of the National Guard troops marks the first time a U.S. chief executive has used such power since 1992, when the Los Angeles riots erupted after 4 white police officers were acquitted in the beating of black motorist Rodney King. It's crazy, man. However, the deployment ordered by then President George Bush, a Republican, occurred at the request of then California Governor Pete Wilson. It is rare for a president. I wonder, was that the last Republican governor of California? I have no idea about California politics. It is rare for a president to act without a governor's cooperation or request. In this case, Democrat Newsom has explicitly opposed Trump's deployment order. And I'm going to get into what he did. But let's talk about some of these clips, what the media has been saying. Let's listen to this one first.
We are having an administration.
Hold on. I need to fix the sound on my computer.
We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting.
So again, they're going with the peaceful protesting. He's sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting. Do you really think that's what they're doing here? Peacefully protesting? And then listen to this quote. It just draws so many parallels back to the George Floyd stuff. Like, you had the CNN reporter standing in front of a burning building, calling it a mostly peaceful protest. This is the same exact rhetoric right here.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators. So large.
By bringing in National Guard, you risk turning just a bunch of people having some fun watching cars burn into something like violent. That's what they're going with. These people are insane. They're retarded. They're absolutely retarded. But I think stuff like this is so good for the public psyche to see again. It's like a great reminder. And maybe that's part of the reason, like, it's being allowed to play out this way. Because the people need a reminder of what happened in 2020. The summer of love. And I expect we'll get more of these protests as we go. But Trump isn't putting up with the BS anymore. Check this video out. You had cars driving by, unmarked cars, and assumed to be like, federal agents or whatever, going to get ICE people. But look what these people are doing. They're throwing freaking rocks at the windshield. If you get a direct hit through a window, I mean, you could definitely hit the driver and hurt somebody. This is dangerous. Like, look at that. You just cracked the window. Like, this guy should be in prison. Trump did put out a True Social post over the weekend too, talking about, we're not going to allow these people to be unmasked or wear masks. So if you're wearing a mask, you're essentially going to get detained. And my thought process on this, like what they're protesting here, you see the videos of all these people everywhere, and they just have, flags of other countries, and they don't want to be deported. Not a single American flag in sight. I personally think the National Guard should round up every single one of these people, whether you're participating in or supporting it, because this is an insurrection. Like, this should not be allowed. Every single one of these people participating in and supporting it should be sent to CCOT down in El Salvador, regardless of their immigration status, regardless of their citizenship. I'm even in favor of American citizens supporting this BS being arrested. Okay, if you don't want to send them to CCOT, another country, that's fine. Send them to Alcatraz. We got that open now. But this is totally ridiculous. And Trump does need to, he can't allow the leeway that was given in 2020. And I understand why the leeway was given in 2020, considering it was an election year. They were trying to steal the election, all these other things. And at the time, I think they still had a lot of their mechanisms in place in terms of like Antifa and BLM and their funding, the funding mechanisms. Like, they could have gotten a lot worse. If you remember, there's that article from Time Magazine back in February, I think it was like February 1st of 2020 that came out, and they admitted to having, protesters on standby all across the country, just waiting for the go signal. It would have been a lot worse then had they gone through with that. This time, I don't think it's going to be that bad, so don't even fuck around. Dang it. Swear word. Swear jar. Sorry. All right. Hold for processing. Sorry to pause there quick. But yeah, what I was saying, like, Trump doesn't need to put up with any of this BS this time around. Optics be damned. Just go in and use whatever is necessary to put an end to this stuff. Because the longer you allow it to go on without putting these like metaphorical fires out, you risk other things catching on fire. They have protests planned like all over the country for January or for the 14th, June 14th. the day that Trump is having the big party on up in Washington. They're all over the country. You're going to have to deploy National Guard all over the place. You can't allow this stuff to go on. You have to show a strong hand. But these are the people we're up against here. This is a little unhinged Democrat lib. At least I'm assuming that is her ideology. Check this out.
You sorry cocksucking sons of a bitches that think that you're just gonna go and fucking arrest a bunch of protesters because they're out there doing something you're too
By the way, earmuffs, not safe for work.
afraid to fucking do. They're out there fighting for our freedom, and they're out there fighting for our right for free speech, cause fuck you, all 2,000 of you fucking National Guardsmen, you brave ass fucking soldiers. You think you're gonna march in those streets and tell those people to shut the fuck up? That is what you decided to fight for. You chose to defend us against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and you fucking failed. And that's why they're out there on those streets. So who the fuck are you to tell them to shut the fuck up? Why don't you grow a pair, take off your mask, and tell me your fucking name? Because my name is Alex, and I say fuck you! You sorry.
She's big man. This is the kind of people we're up against. If this girl ever actually ran into the National Guard, like if she was there at a protest, she would break down. She'd get destroyed. This is one of my favorite videos to come out so far. This is a news reporter from Australia. We're going to watch this replay like a few times. So funny.
Rubber bullets of protesters moving.
She's talking about them using rubber bullets, and I want you to keep an eye on this guy right here. Because this guy, he appears to be looking at her. Okay? So keep an eye on that.
Putting them on through the heart of
Stay on the left.
LA. Ah! You just shot.
Okay. So he's like, he's looking the other direction, and there's like a loud noise. And then out of nowhere, he just like turns. Bam. So I'm going to play from here. Watch how quick he turns, and then listen to the noise she makes.
Ah!
So good.
Shut the fuck up! Ah! 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 Ah!
I mean, to be fair, if I got shot with a rubber bullet, I'd probably make a similar noise. But I just think it's so weird. Like he recognized she was there earlier, was looking at her, and then out of nowhere just turns and gives her one while she's on the news.
Ah! You just shut the fuck up! Rubber bullets of protesters.
So good.
Ah!
So funny. Hey, I shouldn't have been there, right? Shouldn't have been there, but I thought that was so funny. And then now Gavin Newsom is suing Trump over National Guard deployment as media calls LA riots peaceful. Well, that didn't take long. California Governor Gavin Newsom issued a statement on X that he will be suing the Trump administration over the deployment of the National Guard to bring a halt to the violent but peaceful, in quotes, riots spreading across LA. This is exactly what Donald Trump wanted. He flamed the fires and illegally acted to federalize the National Guard. The order he signed doesn't just apply to California. It will allow him to go into any state and do the same thing. We're suing him. And he's right about the order, allowing him to do that. Could go into any state, and I think it will need to. But this is a great, another great example of the constitutional authorities being defined and going to the Supreme Court to have them defined, even though I don't think Trump needs to get them defined by the Supreme Court. But it'll be interesting to see. So he's going to sue. He's going to get a liberal judge somewhere to issue a TRO saying that, no, Trump, you cannot use the National Guard. And then it's going to be immediately challenged to the Supreme Court. And my guess is the Supreme Court's going to be like, well, he kind of can do this. That is within his authority. But this is going to be a fun one to play out. I wonder what.
Do you have any confidence that Pete Hegseth will be as principled as Mark Esper was?
Hegseth's a joke. He's a joke. Everybody knows it's so in over his head. What an embarrassment. And that's just guy's weakness masquerading as strength. I don't even know he masquerades as strength. I mean, it's a serious moment. I mean, this Hooman guy, these guys, it's just, it's the band of myths.
I think it's Tom Homan. By the way, you guys like my Golden Girls mug today? It's pretty awesome. So I'm going to rewind it a little bit.
Yes, it's just it's the band of misfits.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. This is serious. People's lives are at stake. The reputation of this country is at stake. Great American cities and states. It's not just, this is a preview for things to come. This isn't about LA per se. It's about us today. It's about you, everyone watching tomorrow. I promise you.
Damn right.
I mean, this guy's unhinged. Donald Trump is unhinged right now. And this is just another proof point of that.
I mean, California, guys, it's I would say one of the epicenters of Democrat corruption. And it's like a great example of what happens when you take over a state with fraudulent elections, Democrat leadership, corruption. There's so many things you can point to about California. I've been there once or twice maybe. The state is absolutely beautiful. It's probably one of the most beautiful states America has. But Democrat leadership has ruined it. And this is almost what this battle is. It's a fight for the future of not just California, but this country. Trump is going to war against these blue states. And if they're going to allow, protests like this, illegal immigrants, people not even from this country that shouldn't be here, they're not here legally. They're protesting, they're causing damage, they're disrupting people's day-to-day lives. They're not from this country, they're enemy combatants. So of course, send in the military to stop that. And of course, people supporting that are complicit. I'm pretty sure that's in one of the law of war manual. People supporting enemy combatants domestically, that's treason. And they should be dealt with accordingly. And now we're getting what's going to be a very public legal battle over this exact scenario. I think it's great. I'm excited to watch this play out. It's going to have similar vibes to the summer of 2020, but I think it's going to have a completely different outcome. Here we have Maxine Waters.
And he's using deportation as a way to enhance his position with all of those right-wingers out there who do not want this country to be a country of people coming from other places. It's outrageous, it is horrible, and we've got to make sure that we do everything that we possibly can, because I think he's up to creating martial law. He even alluded to
we got the National Guard here.
What do you think
National Guard for what?
What do you think about the National Guard being here, Trump deploying them and not our own governor?
Well, the thing about it is, I don't know why they're here with guns. Whom are they going to shoot, and for what? Are you going to shoot a kid running away just because they're afraid of them? Are you going to shoot a protester because you don't like what they're saying? Why the gun?
You have a gun to shoot the media. So funny. Sorry, back to this one.
Why are these guns here? That's my question. I don't get why the guns have to be here. We're a sanctuary city. We know Trump doesn't like us. We know that he's going to try to use us as an example. He's going to try to goad us so that he has a martial law. He even alluded to civil war at one point in talking about this issue.
And
What do they expect? What is the military supposed to show up with? Like, do we train the military to use anything other than guns? These people are so stupid. Here's another video of Maxine Waters, who's from California, by the way.
No, I want you to... Hello. Congresswoman Waters, I just came to use my congressional authority to check on David.
Ma'am, we're logging securely now to all visitors.
Excuse me, I need to get in.
Contact our public appeal.
I need to get in.
What are you hoping to do, Congresswoman?
I just want to see David Werter. Right.
6, 7,
8. I need to get in.
Contact our
check on David.
Ma'am,
My congressional authority.
I need to use my congressional authority.
I need to get in.
Contact our public appeal.
I need to get in.
I kind of wish. Do you see that? I wonder if her hand almost.
Excuse me, I need to get in.
Contact our public appeal.
I need to get in.
Congressperson normally be able to enter the...
Normally, yes.
What is happening here?
Well, there were some of the authorities, I don't know who they were, and I'm trying to get in to see David Werter, who they have arrested He is the head of SEIU local union here. I don't know why he was targeted. I don't know what they're doing with him. I don't know whether they're going to deport him. I want to report back to my caucus about what's happening.
I just, even like being fully aware that our elections are totally fraudulent, why do they keep stealing elections for old bag of bones like this? Like, I don't, you could steal an election for somebody that is much more tolerable, even much easier on the eyes than Maxine Waters. But they keep doing it for all the same old piece of shit. Swear jar, sorry. It's crazy. Okay, that might be the last protest video I have for now, but I can't be sure. Yeah, I'll come back if it is, whatever. I do want to talk about Abrego Garcia, which is kind of where a lot of this stuff stems from. The deportation fight has been going on about Abrego Garcia. He has been brought back home to the United States. Bukele from El Salvador sent him home, and they brought him home so that they could charge him with crime. I still wish they would have kept him away, because it kind of gives off the appearance that they lost that legal battle, and I don't necessarily think that they did. But anyway, Abrego Garcia's attorneys still want Trump administration officials held in contempt. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's attorneys are pushing to keep a civil case against the Trump administration alive so they can seek sanctions against officials for allegedly violating orders to return him from El Salvador, where he was wrongly deported earlier this year. He was not wrongfully deported. He's not an American citizen. You can't be wrongfully deported if you're not an American citizen. If you're not an American citizen, you can get deported. Doesn't matter where you get deported to, in my opinion. As long as it's not this country, I don't care. This person does not have the same rights as everybody else in this country. But anyway, they're still trying to win a civil case against the Trump administration. But check this out. This was on CNN.
Though he, of course, is alleged to have committed these crimes. Do you think that Democrats risk politically playing into the president's hands by focusing on this case?
First of all, I don't know of a single Democrat who defended him specifically against any crimes, because he wasn't charged with any crimes. He doesn't have any criminal history, to my knowledge, or a criminal record, and there were no charges outstanding when he got unceremoniously picked up and flown out of the country. I mean, that's called a disappearance. That's what happens in authoritarian societies. They obviously want to make this about whether or not he ends up being a good guy or a bad guy, but it's not a moral question. It's a legal question. It's a constitutional question of whether the government can pick people up and take them out of the country. And I think the Supreme Court has been fairly emphatic about this. Due process is for everybody. Sometimes I hear my MAGA colleagues say, you're for due process for guilty people? Well, yeah, because we don't know if they're guilty or they're innocent until we've had due process. That's the whole point of due process.
I agree it's not a moral question, but first of all, you guys did fly, like you had Democrat senators fly down to El Salvador to try to get this guy in prison. Like, you defended him for sure. So that's a lie. And you're right, it's not necessarily a moral question, but the due process aspect of this is, do we allow non-citizens to have due process in the United States? That's the question here. And no, of course we don't. If this was an actual American citizen, not an illegal alien, but an American citizen, this would be a completely different conversation. But it's not. Anyway, let's go to this. I'm going to just go through a few more, and then I got to get out of here. Colombia assassination attempt. Colombian Senator Miguel Uribe, running for, he'll be in the next year's presidential race down there, got shot 3 times, twice in the back of the head and once in the knee, I think I saw. And there is a video of it. It's kind of hard to tell, especially because they cut away from it. So I'm not even going to show the video. But he's just speaking, and somebody popped him, but he survived, which is crazy. Thought this was notable. The Millers Washington power couple straddles Trump-Musk feud, adding to the kayfabe here. They're the Washington couple at the center of power in the Trump administration. They're also straddling opposing sides of an explosive breakup between President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk. CNN reported last week that Katie Miller, the wife of Stephen Miller, Trump's deputy chief of staff, would be departing her role as a top spokesperson at the White House and advisor for Elon Musk's Doge. And she's going to go and help Musk. She was on her way to work for Musk as he went back to running his companies, helping the tech titan manage and arrange interviews unrelated to his time in government. It's kind of crazy. They're on opposite sides of the breakup. Israel intercepted Greta Thunberg's Gaza aid ship. She was on a boat going over to Gaza, and let me see if I can find the video of it happening. Hold for processing here. I know I saw a video of them on the boat, like as they were pulling up. Yeah, right there. This is Israel pulling over the boat. They're like giving them food and water and stuff.
Where is he?
And then she released this video.
My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
Like, what kind of hostage or kidnapper allows the people to make this kind of, like, this is so stupid. Kind of crazy she was going over there in the first place. And then I got this. And then this might be the last video I have for today.
All right, look, you ready for a tinfoil hat moment?
I'm sorry?
Are you ready for a tinfoil hat moment?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to be bold and say this. And, you know, you can take issue with this all you want. I do not think he won in a free and fair election. How do you like that, lefties? Yeah, I said it. I'm Kathy Griffin, and I do not think Trump won in a free and fair election. I believe there was tampering. I don't know. I don't know if it was the Elon connection. I don't know if it was just a few good old boys in the South who didn't do the, I mean, what they accuse us of, if you remember Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, what they tend to accuse us of is what we find out they themselves did. So I know I'll take heat for this and people are going to say I'm crazy, but I've been called crazy before, Don. And I just, the more times
your gut is telling you something happened.
My gut is telling me that something was up with them.
You're not far off. I won't say that I disagree with you. But,
okay.
I'm an evidence person. I'd like to see the evidence. I think something was off. And especially, when someone said, oh, we've got this. And, how do you know that? How do you know we've got this? How do you know? Or I don't need your vote or anything like that. It's
this
a
will
little
be the
bit
last
odd.
election. We won't have any elections after this.
Vote for me and you won't have to vote again anymore. And also, as you said, every accusation is a confession.
Yeah.
That is wild. I mean, honestly, the more I think about it, can you think of a better way to get election integrity than both sides accusing the other party of stealing elections? But it's just nuts. Like Don Lemon and Kathy Griffin, these people who totally ignored Joe Biden stealing the election, and now they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't think Trump won legitimately." It's just nuts to see how far we've come. I'm here for it. Guys, I do got to bolt out of here. Tomorrow should be a longer show, but yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you tonight on Baseless Conspiracies, and then back again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Daily Herald.
Let's get started. That's what she said. real good.